Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another monthly reading wrap up. This is the reading diaries section of my channel where I tell you guys all the books that I read in the previous month. So we are on April and yeah, we have another reading wrap up for y'all. Let me grab my phone so I can try to remember how many books I read this month. To me, I don't know if it was because April felt shorter or what it was, but I feel like I read less in April than I did in March. Like, I feel like March is still my best reading month at the moment. But for the most part, I read 13 books. There were a couple of mini follow-up books that I read that don't count towards this, but for the most part I read 13 books. Obviously, if you're new here, they're all romance. That's all I pretty much read. Black romance, to be specific. Not saying I will never dibble and dabble, but right now I am catching up on all this black romance, black love goodness that is out there. So yeah, we're gonna go through all the books real fast. Two of them were like series, so I'm gonna kind of lump them together and just try to talk to them or talk about them real fast. Also, a couple of the books that I read, they were new to be authors, like authors that I haven't read yet. I am going to the Black Romance Book Festival at the end of this month, so we're in preparation mode right now, just trying to get a couple things together for the festival. But I want to try to read a couple new authors. Obviously, I'm not going to get to every single author that's going to be there, but it was a goal of mine to try to read especially some of the names that I hear the most. So a couple of the authors were new to me, and then I finished two series. All right, so since the first book that I read for the month was The Oath by T.M. Richardson. So this is the Secrets series. I actually read all three books in this series in the month of April. That's probably why it felt like I didn't read that much, because I was kind of like, but anyways, T.M. Richardson, also known as Tati Richardson. She has two different names because she does like the independent side and then the, what do you call it? The you got the independent author side and you have the traditionally published side of it. So she's a hybrid author that does independent releases as well as traditional releases. So I have heard so many things about the Secrets series for a while. So she's been on my radar. I follow her, she follows me as well. So I wanted to make sure that I read her books before the Black Romance Book Festival, because that way I'm like, we can't be following each other and I've never read any of your books. I also have her traditionally released book called Losing Sight Losing Sight, that is on my bookshelf that I need to read. But I was like, all right, let's get into Why Choose. So Why Choose Romance. Can't say too much, okay? It is multiple people in this book. Let's talk about The Oath. So this is book one in the Secret series. It follows the FMC Tatum and three male characters. I believe their names were, let's see if I can remember the names. I know Cassidy, Deacon, and what was the third guy's name? I can't think of. Miles. I think it was Miles. So this is a romance where she lost her husband before he died. He was like, look, I want you to be happy. I want you to find your joy again. I want you to go out into the world. And she was like, nah, I'm good. So after the funeral, the three best friends, these three males, they're best friends of the now deceased husband, and they were like, he made us make a promise to take care of you in whatever way you would like. We're going to be here for you in any capacity. You get to see her deal with this new reality, this new arrangements. And that's all I'm going to say about book one. These books are all filled with spice. So if you can't do spice, if you can't do why choose romance, don't even think about it. But if you're looking for a why choose series, pretty short. I think they were all what were they? This one was 178 pages, so pretty short. Um, really, really good. Enjoyed it a lot. Then while you're in book one, you meet her two best friends, which are Alyssa and Nadine. So book two, called The Offer, follows Alyssa's story. Immediately after meeting Alyssa in book one, I knew I was gonna enjoy Alyssa's story. She just seemed like the more carefree friend, willing to explore, not very judgmental. She's just down. She's just down. So I knew her book was going to be a good time, and it did not disappoint. So she's the FMC, and then it follows a couple. I suck at these names. The male, Christoph, and I can't remember the second one's name. I will put it on the screen. But yeah, they saw her. They were just like in awe of her and figured she could fit into their dynamic. It took some convincing, but at the same time, I love that Alyssa is just someone who speaks her mind, say what she's feeling. She's not afraid to speak her mind. And that's what I loved about her. I thought Christoph, because he's like a politician, and the other guy is a retired NFL player, I believe it was. But I thought Christoph was going to be the more reserved person. He was not the reserved one. So enjoy that. That was only 174 pages. So again, these were short, and I was reading a couple other things in between book one and book two, but I just want to kind of group them together. And then book three was literally coming out while I was reading book two. It was coming out that same week. I believe it came out like March 13th. So that was part of the reason I was like, I need to read book one and two before book three comes out. So book three is The Opportunity, and it follows Nadine's story. This is a FFM, Why Choose Romance. So Nadine is the judgmental friend. She's the friend that she's still a good friend to the other two ladies, but she's the friend that always got something negative to say, like judging, judging, judging. And usually when people judge, you know they have a backstory. They've been through some things. They have some stuff in their closet that they need to clean out. So book three, Nadine is going through therapy, and she is dealing with her past, her childhood, and some things come to light. And it's filled with a couple. It wasn't really a cheating trope, but it was more of a secret, like waiting for that secret to come out of what she's feeling, and for her to open up to her husband. Why can I think of anybody's name right now? Like, I cannot remember any names right now, but she had a hard time just being honest with who she is and who she wants to be. So his name is Eddie. See, came to me. My brain is not working. But yeah, I could not be mad at the character because she was getting help. She was going through therapy. And that therapist held her accountable. Okay? That therapist was like, do this and why you did that, and gave her homework that she went home and did. So I could not be mad at Nadine's story. Is it my favorite in the series? No. It's between book one and book two because I actually love all the characters in book one, but also Alyssa's book was more fun, I guess you can say. But yeah, that wraps up the Secret series book one, two, and three. Like I said, if you're looking for a why choose romance, check out that series. All right. So going back to the beginning part of the month, I was also reading The Loyal Wife. This is a psychological thriller. So it's one of those where there's going to be some unaliving. The female, her name is either Sade or Sade. I don't know how the author wants you to pronounce it. But you have the male, and the male character, he is a what do you call it? He's like a tax financial guy. Like he help people fix their taxes or stuff like that. So he finds out that someone is scamming. Somebody's doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, and he's in business with his wife and like two best friends. So he's trying to figure out who is doing this. Like he's looking up paperwork to try to figure out what's going on. Well, in the middle of that, whoever is framing him sends the FBI. Like the FBI is on their way to arrest him. So he has to come up with a plan. He tries to drive away from the office and someone runs him off the road. So he loses his memory. And that's where Said, his childhood best friend, comes into play because she shows up to the hospital and was like, you know what? I'm his wife, even though she wasn't. So she played the role of his wife to try to protect him from the people who are framing him and to try to figure out like what's going on and who did it and stuff like that because nobody knows who ran him off the road. So this is her way of protecting him, but in that same breath, she has to unalive a couple people to try to keep that secret because at first she didn't even want the male to know that they're not really married. So she's kind of lying to him, protecting him, but then he finds out like why she did what she did. So now he's in love with her at this point. So, and plus his memory was lost. So he kind of had to believe what she's saying. But you get to go on this wild ride of figuring out who was the person that was doing all the illegal stuff, who was framing him, and who ran him off the road. And at the same time, everything that she did was to protect him. So you can't even be mad. When I say I was like, this book had me feeling sorry for Sade instead of all the other people that were doing the other stuff. Like, what? But, anyways, I had to read The Loyal Wife so I can get ready for The Devoted Husband. It doesn't come out till I believe it's like June 24th when The Devoted Husband, which is part two, comes out. So right when I start to read The Devoted Husband or The Devoted Husband, I realized that you have to read The Loyal Wife because it literally picks up from the end of The Loyal Wife. So this is the perfect time. If you're into psychological thriller, you want to dip into psychological thriller, I feel like The Loyal Wife is a great place to start. It's crazy, but it's not too crazy. But yeah, I read The Devoted Husband. Again, plot twists. Every time you think you figured it out, something else happened, and I was like, whoa, like what? There were a couple times, I think it was like 30% into The Devoted Husband, that I had to like, what? Like who? Yeah, there was a lot of that. Yeah, there was a lot of plot twists in book two. It was kind of slow, but not too slow because right when you're like, okay, where's this headed? Something else would happen. And yeah, it's just a wild ride for sure. So those two books were my introduction into psychological thriller. I'm not going to read a ton of psychological thriller, but I feel like there's a couple authors that I'm following that keeps coming out with books like that I'm like, I kind of want to read it because there's one out right now called Call Me Mrs. Taylor. And the fact that I know it has spice makes me want to read it, even though I heard she's a crazy like wife in there as well. So who knows? I might read it. So yeah, that was that. Those two together. Now let's get into all the new authors that I read. Um, Starting with author D. Rose. I've heard great things about her books. I decided to pick a short one to start because, again, crunch time. I'm trying to squeeze all these books in, so I didn't want to pick anything too long. Like right now, I'm trying to keep everything under like 300 pages. So I read Brown Sugar and I really, really, really liked it. And I heard that she uses a lot of music in her books, which makes me want, it felt like a 90s love song. So the female, she is a poet slash, yeah, she's a poet, he's a musician, he plays the guitar, and they go to this like open mic night every Friday or something like that. So they've been seeing each other in passing for months, and now for the first time they kind of meet at the bar and have a conversation, and she gets invited to like hang out with them, and then they spent like the night together, and you get to see their little love story. Very quick, very short. I believe it was only like 100 and no, actually it was only 77 pages. So yeah, pick something quick and short. It's the name of it is Brown Sugar. There was a lot of like musical references to it, songs and just the poems and everything. It just felt like a 90s type, and this was a small town romance as well. Loved it. This is actually now book one in the series, so that but the next book is like longer, so I had to like put it on pause because I'm like, I don't want to read long books right now. So I'll definitely be circling back and continuing that series as well. Next new author to me was Risley. Is that how you pronounce her name? Rilzy Adams or Rousey Adams? I'm gonna have to figure out how her name is pronounced, how she wants it pronounced. Hold on. I was wondering why my camera's so dark. There you go. So yeah, I'll put the picture on the screen. Again, pick something short. This was only 131 pages. This is a friends to lovers romance. The female in this book, she is a author that writes romance, and like the last book she came out with, which I thought this story was so cute the way they set it up. But she's an author, but she's been getting bad reviews for like her last book. Pretty much people are saying like it's repetitive. There's no new spice. There's no, she hasn't been in a relationship in a while. So there's no inspo. She need a little inspo. So she's down in trying to strategize how she's gonna like turn this around because for her next book. So she reaches out. I think her one of her friends was like, "Why don't you do this? See if your best friend can help you with this." And she texted him and told him she wanted to have some mentorship in that department so she can get inspired. And did he deliver? Yes, he did. They really thought they were just gonna do this little situation and it was not gonna result in them falling in love with each other. I mean, literally, they were the type of friends who already do everything together, literally do everything together except cross that line. So now that they've crossed that line, there ain't no going back. You've done the one thing that kept you guys as just friends. There's no more just friends. This book was funny. It was cute. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to read more from that author as well. Really, really good. I'm loving the new authors that I was introduced to this April. Next new author to me was Asia Monique. She's one of the names that I always hear all the time. I just haven't gotten around to it. And Sinful Vow, or this series, is one that I hear about a lot in the past. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start here. And this one was only 268 pages. This is a mafia romance. So you already know arranged marriage, marriage of convenience, family, different type of families in the mafia, and trying to, power and stuff like that. That's the route it's going to go. So this follows the again, I need my iPad because when I say I am not remembering names, I am not remembering names right now. So let's go back to my spreads so I can look at the names. This is why when I do my journal entries, I try to put the names on there as well. So this follows the female Lucia. She is a mafia princess, but she's also a trained assassin. So she's not just looking cute in the house. She is out doing things. She has her business and everything. And she's into She's very passionate about rescuing females or women who are being trafficked. So that's the thing that she's passionate about. And then the male, Enzo, is in line to take over his family um, mafia. And he's a businessman. He owns a casino and all the things. So she went to him with a proposition because she needed something. And they were like, trying to work things out. I don't want to give away too much, but their marriage got arranged, obviously, for strengthening. And you get to see them fall in love. That's the best I can say about it. She never thought this would be her. She's a strong FMC. She likes to just go about her business, do her thing. She don't need to answer to anybody. But now she has Enzo. And one thing about these MMCs, they're going to show up. So you don't communicate, they're going to put a tracker on that car. They're going to show up to you on the job. And that's what this was. But this was I really, really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 star as well. Just love their relationship. Um, love everything about it. I can't wait to continue this series as well. It also had a little plot twist that I was like, wait, did I read that right? Had to go back and read that again. So yeah. But yeah, this was a really good one. I love when she's not just like a damsel in distress. Like this is a woman who knows how to handle herself, and this is a male who's trying to soften her up just a little bit, like, hey, I'm gonna need you to trust me and let me handle some stuff. So that was Sinful Vow, and I think the next book in the series is like Sinful something else, Redemption or something like that. So I will pick that back up at some point, but I really enjoyed Asia Monique's style of writing. It was well written, loved it. Next up is the audiobook of the month. I listened to Love Radio by Ebony Liddell. She's another author that's going to be at Black Romance Book Fest. This is a YA young adult romance. So both characters are 18 years old, I believe. They're finishing high school, getting ready to see where they want to go to college, what they want to do with their life type of stuff. He's liked her since like middle school, and he finally had like the courage to walk up to her. I think they were in like a library or something. Meet cute, love the little banter they had in that initial meeting. But after that, everything else felt like just a 90s type of love again, where it's like they went roller skating. He helped her take her braids down. You get to see him deal with his family, like being the main person to like take care of his mom because his mom is like sick, and then she had something that she was dealing with as well. So you get to see them deal with their separate issues and try to come together, kind of have that little breakup moment where they're like, can we be together, all that stuff. But I really enjoyed this. I felt like it was well written, loved the 90s vibes of it. Especially for audiobook, it was able to like keep my attention the whole time. Like I was listening to it while I got some spring cleaning done, and I was like, I actually enjoy this a lot. Love the ending of it and all that. So, and I think she has another book coming out soon that probably related to the first book, like maybe Another Friend or something. But yeah, I actually really enjoy that. I was actually surprised because audiobooks sometimes, if the narrator is not good, it doesn't hold your attention, or you don't feel the things you would normally feel when you're reading the books. But that one actually had my attention. Okay, next up, 2 books. This is book 2 and 3 in the Armani Sisters series. I believe I read book 1 either in February or in March. I think it was March. I feel like it was March. But book 2 follows one more sister. She's the middle sister. Her name is Italy. This is a second chance romance. So she was with this MMC at the end of high school, but he broke up with her and left town. So she's still dealing with that. This is 12 years later. He's moving back and she does not want to see him. Well, they ran into each other, and the rest is just like Yeah. Second chance romance, you get to see them navigate, coming together, the tension, all the things. Yeah, loved it. I enjoyed it. And then book three follows Kenya. She's the oldest sister of the three. This is more of Kenya is very tough. You can tell from the other two books, she does not want to be in a relationship. Somebody hurt her bad. Somebody did something to make her not even believe in being in love. So I knew that whoever this MMC is going to be, whoever this male is going to be in this book, he's going to have his hands full. And that's exactly what happened. You meet Sanchez, and Sanchez, the moment they met, he was like, "Oh, you're a little bit mean, but we're going to work on that." That did not last very long. Well, it did, but then it didn't, because he had her speechless within 10% of this book. Okay, she had nothing to say. He was like, "I'm in control. When you're with me, I'm the boss." Yeah, he was that. It was a good time though. There was so many funny moments. I was laughing out loud. I was having a good time. It was good. It was good. There was some plot twists, there was some drama, but overall it was good. Then after I finished that, I was like, let me squeeze in a little short read again by another author that I haven't read yet. So I read Between by Kayla Shawn. She's also going to be at the book fest. This was just a novella. It was only 56 pages, quick and to the point. It made me wonder if I was missing something, because I was like, wait, but they work together. They've always been a little attraction, and then they joined. And then they got together. That was it. It was spicy. It was to the point. Just a quick read. And that's what it was. I don't have much to say about that one. And then after that, I read um Ledge, which I'm like, I'm not seeing it on here. Is it on here? I don't see it on here. I probably got to fix that. But after that, I read Ledge, which is book one in the Domino Effect by Gray Huffington. I am still trying to go back and read all of Gray Huffington's older books. My introduction to Gray Huffington was through the Graylist series, starting with Chemistry. So I'm up to date on that series. Chemistry, Rather, Rugger, Roulette. I've read all four of those books, but I have to go back and read the other books. So I started with the Eisenberg series, loved it, finished it, and then the Domino Effect followed Two Twins, Ledge and Law. So I read Ledge. When I tell you, this was such a emotional, cute, sweet romance. The female character, she suffers from agoraphobia. So she has severe, and I mean severe, anxiety of going outside due to things that have happened to her, the trauma from her childhood. She's scared to go outside. She decided to go outside one night, go to a bar, and she meets a Ledge. Well, after meeting him and having the time of their life that night, she goes back inside the house for the next 8 months. Then they ran into each other again. So after that, Ledge finds out about her condition. And when I tell you, he goes out and buy books to read up on her condition and to try to better understand how to approach and deal with her. And everything from there was just like, wow. The most patient, the most level headed man in a book. This was so well written, and I also love that you get to see the female character Halo journey, her ups and downs of go outside but then become overstimulated, needing time by herself, trying to step outside her front door. This is not just, oh, she has agoraphobia, yay, that's it. No, this was a journey. You get to see her growth, you get to see low moments. There was so many things, and on top of that, Ledge is dealing with his newfound family, business, losing his mom, just all the things. But he was still so gentle, so patient, so caring when it came to the female character. um I was telling my sister, and I was like, whenever I read romance, it doesn't matter if the male character has a lot of money. It's always the little things that stand out to me. So him buying books to understand her condition, that is what stood out to me. That is what I love to see. So yeah, beautiful story. I loved it. I did read Law after that. I started Law on the 30th of April, but I didn't finish it till yesterday, which was the second. So, well, yeah, I'll just talk about that one in my May wrap up. But that's pretty much it for my April reading wrap up. Like I said, I read 13 books. They were all over 3.5 stars. I think my lowest rated book was the little short one, the little Kayla Sean between novella. There was just nothing too special. It was just like a cute story. So that was my lowest rated book. I had, I think, at least three 5-star reads. So that is good. That is good. In terms of May, I'm gonna try to again squeeze in a couple authors that are going to be at Black Romance Book Fest. Me and my sister will be buddy reading Capri. Hopefully we start that on like Monday. So I'm reading Capri. I'm actually listening to um I'm actually listening to Beautiful Broken Love right now on audiobook. I took down the physical book thinking I'm going to read the physical book, but I'm actually listening to it and following along on my Kindle instead. So like I went to the grocery store and I was listening to it while I drive to Vegas. So I should be able to finish that once I wrap up all these content that I'm shooting right now. But yeah, I'm still on that, trying to get ready for Black Romance Book Fest. I will try to do a separate video talking about my TBR for May. And I got a couple new books in recently that I probably should show you guys. So yeah. So let me know down below what you read in April, if you did read, or if you've read any of the books that I mentioned. If you enjoyed this video, give yourself if you enjoyed this video, give your girl a thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe. I will try to link and type out all the books in the description box. So yeah. So until next time, bye y'all.